Hey everyone. You ever wonder how a massive cyber attack actually gets started? It's not always some big, loud explosion like you see in the movies. Nah, most of the time, it all begins with this one quiet, really methodical first step. It's called reconnaissance. And today, we're going to break down exactly how attackers case the joint in the digital world way before they even think about breaking in.
So seriously, how does a hack really begin? I want you to just forget all that dramatic, high-speed typing you see in the movies for a second. The reality? It's much more like a burglar casing a building, right? Before they even think about touching a lock, they're just walking the perimeter super methodically, checking every single door and window. All they're looking for is that one that's already unlocked.
Well, in the digital world, that whole process, that checking for unlocked doors, that's what we call vulnerability scanning. It's basically an automated way for attackers to do that casing the joint thing. They're just programmatically searching for known security weaknesses in a system, a network, an application, you name it. And for them, believe me, this is the absolute starting point of pretty much any attack.
Okay, so what exactly are these digital prowlers looking for? It's not just about finding any old open door. No, it's way smarter than that. It's all about gathering intelligence so they can find the perfect key for a very specific lock.
This is kind of like their basic checklist. They're not digging for your secrets just yet. Nope, they're just gathering simple facts, like what software and what version numbers are you running? Because if they know that, it tells them exactly which known exploits might work against you, or which network ports are open and listening. That's just like seeing which doors are even available to knock on. They gather all these little, simple clues, and then they cross-reference them against this huge library of known vulnerabilities.
And look, I really want to be clear about this. This isn't just some random poking and prodding around. Oh no. This kind of reconnaissance is a super systematic process. It's literally a playbook that attackers follow, using a whole toolkit of techniques to give them the best possible shot at success.
And their method? Well, it follows this really clear playbook. First up, they identify potential targets. Simple enough. Then they start probing for that key info we just talked about, software versions, open ports. And once they find a mismatch, maybe some outdated software, boom, they move to step 3. They match that weakness to a known exploit. And that exploit? That becomes their digital key, letting them plan out their initial way in.
And don't just take my word for it. The experts over at MITRE ATT&CK, they put it perfectly. They say this information is the foundation for everything that follows. It's not just about getting in the door, it's about mapping out the entire operation. This one initial scan, it basically dictates the attacker's whole strategy, from the very beginning to the very end.
All right, so if that's the method, the big question is, who is actually doing all this scanning? Because this isn't just some theoretical threat we're talking about. No way. There are very real, very well-known, and super sophisticated groups behind these operations.
And make no mistake, this is happening every single day. We're talking highly organized, sometimes even state-sponsored groups that are actively scanning targets all across the globe. Everything from government agencies to critical infrastructure, and they're all just looking for that one unlocked digital window.
So here are just a few of the big players. You've got groups like APT28. They're known for these massive, large-scale scans targeting government and military networks. Then there's Sandworm Team, who really focus on critical infrastructure. We're talking the energy sector. And how about Aquatic Panda? They were famous for scanning academic institutions, specifically looking for that huge Log4j vulnerability, the one that affected millions of systems. The point is, this is happening constantly and at an absolutely massive scale.
Okay, so with all this prowling going on, it kind of begs the question, right? How do the good guys, the defenders, even spot the clues? I mean, how do you catch someone who's just quietly testing the doorknobs from the outside?
Well, the key is to know what's normal. I want you to think about it like a security camera that's just watching a street. You know what normal traffic looks like, right? Cars come and go in an expected way. But scanning traffic? That looks different. It's like that one car that's slowly circling the block over and over, maybe trying every single driveway. It creates these weird, anomalous patterns and unusual requests that just totally stand out from all the regular digital noise.
So what does that suspicious car actually look like in the digital world? Well, it's stuff like network traffic that just doesn't follow the rules. Or maybe extra data packets that show up where they don't belong. Or you might see these strangely formatted requests coming in. It could even be a program on your system suddenly trying to make a network connection when it has absolutely no business doing that.
Every single one of those is a potential red flag that a scan is happening.
Okay, so this all leads us to maybe the most important question of all. If this scanning stuff is a constant, unavoidable reality, what can anyone actually do about it, right? How do you fortify the fortress?
And well, here's the tough part. The honest reality is, you can't really stop someone from scanning you. It's all happening outside of your walls, on the public internet. Think of it this way. It's like someone standing on the public sidewalk, looking at your house with binoculars. You can't legally stop them from just looking.
So, if you can't stop them from looking, what do you do? Simple. You minimize what they can see. The best defense is to reduce what we call your attack surface. And what that really means is closing any unnecessary doors or ports, removing extra information from your public-facing servers, basically just making sure you're not giving away any free clues to someone who's prowling around. So ultimately, the crucial point is this. You just have to operate with the awareness that someone is always checking your digital doors and windows. And listen, understanding this constant prowl isn't meant to scare you, not at all. It's the absolute, fundamental first step in building a defense that's actually resilient and effective.
Which leaves us with one final question to chew on. Knowing that this scanning is a constant, non-stop activity happening all across the internet, what's your single most important first line of defense? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me.